Dude, did you know the entire Earth is $315 trillion in debt? Whoa. Yeah. What? Who do they owe money to?
Bro, who are they getting money from?
It blows my mind that first off, you have everything on the planet here to live for free.
You literally have everything you need.
And then you invent a system that creates a deterioration of your own resources.
You created a store of value that's literally storing less and less value every day. Every day.
And you're increasing your technology, and yet somehow you still owe money to someone, and it's $315 trillion. There's not enough paper to print that much cash. What are they doing?
Dude, Earth is like the worst meme coin. It's the worst.
It got rugged.
Earth got rugged.
Watching the world burn, watching the world burn. June 1st, 2025. Let's get into it. Wasn't that a great clip up front? I loved it, man, with the alien talking about the national debt. Anyway, I wanted to, let's get a couple things out of the way before I get into the video. You know, I am The Burn on Rumble. You can check out the Burn channel on Rumble, and I'm also ThatCyberSecurityGuy on YouTube. So, how you doing? All right, so, and then our next video is going to be on building a trellis, because I got to get that done. So, we won't have to be making geopoliticals, but I wanted to get one more out of the way. So, I wrote down some numbers based on that upfront clip. So, the interest on the debt right now is 1.026 trillion. More than the defense budget. Or it should be more than the defense budget. I don't know. Trump may try to spend 2 trillion on defense. Who knows? This was an astronomical number. Credit card debt is at 1.325 trillion. Now I was trying to get the breakdown per person, but anyway, the breakdown just wasn't, it looked like it wasn't updating. So the debt held by foreign countries, I thought this was a very important number. I mean, if you didn't recall, the debt that used to be held by foreign countries was most of the debt, actually. But now it's down to 9.022 trillion. So I got the bugs crawling on me. And then I wanted to, oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you that the big number was within the next week, I'd say we're going to cross $37 trillion in debt in the United States. That's one bad thing about Trump. He doesn't seem to care about the debt. Certainly nobody in Congress seems to care. I just don't see how that whole system just doesn't crash in on itself at some point. Seems to me we're heading for a financial crisis, but who am I? Maybe you can just print money forever, huh? What do you know? Although last stat I heard was the dollar's lost 97% of its value. So well, let's give you the latest on the numbers. You got gold at $3,302. Silver is at $33.15. And platinum is at $1,068. So those are the latest numbers. So we're going to start with a happy topic. You know, and I just, the Vigilant Fox, he does these long threads. And most of the time, it's just too much to read. A lot of people on X now are doing these long threads, which, you know, if you get into a topic, you got to have a thread. It does break it down a lot better. You know, otherwise you're doing multiple posts, and the posts can come out in different things. And, you know, the threads are a really nice tool. I don't do them because I just make a video and put everything in one post. So anyway, let's read you some of this. The Vigilant Fox. Something big just went down at the White House. Elon Musk stood next to the President, Trump, and gave the final address, but it wasn't a goodbye. It was a warning. The DOGE influence will only grow stronger. Trump opened the floor by hijacking the cameras and forcing the media to watch CNBC praise his economy. This was great. I thought this was great. So then Musk said something about the New York Times, which hit like a grenade. We got a picture of Trump and Musk together. So let's get into the first thread. The press conference, going at the bugs again. The press conference marking Elon's departure from the Trump administration wasn't your typical send-off. It opened with a curveball only Trump would throw. Sitting beside Elon Musk in the Oval Office, Trump kicked things off by praising Musk for his DOGE efforts before turning the cameras to CNBC. It's an honor to be with Elon, who's my friend, and he's done a fantastic job. He didn't need this, Trump said. And we find that government is a little nasty on occasion, to say the least. Then the classic Trump style, he gave the media something to chew on. I think what I'll do, if you don't mind, numbers have just come out which are rather extraordinary. And I thought I'd play a tape of one of the people who I've respected over the years, Joe Kerman and Rick Santelli. So this just came out. We'll just play that for a second. The clip spotlighted rising personal income and trade deficit that had been cut in half. Trump made sure in every lens that the camera caught it. Let's watch that video.
Honored to be with Elon, who's my friend, and he's done a fantastic job. He didn't need this. He didn't need it. And we find out government's a little nasty on occasion. Hello, Peter.
Yeah, hello, President Trump.
Government's a little bit nasty, Peter. You haven't noticed that. You've had a charmed life, right?
You tell me.
Very charmed. I think you've had a charmed life. I think what I'll do, if you don't mind, numbers have just come out which are rather extraordinary, and I thought I'd play a tape of one of the people who I've respected over the years, from Joe Kiernan and Rick Santelli. This just came out, and we'll just play that for a second.
Personal income is up 0.8%. That is almost triple the expectations. I'll tell you that the income numbers, really, for the first 4 months of the year, they're stellar. They're really stellar. I mean, I could go back and look at the first 4 months of many different years. Really very strong numbers, and you're right. This administration is criticized for just about everything under the sun. I've never, ever in my lifetime had glimpses into the politics of an administration in the form of transparency like this one. Why don't we be, give credit where credit is due. Income really shooting up.
Rick, I also thought everybody was going to get one last order of imports that were going to be tariffed, and they were loading up on things. How the hell they already fix the trade, or not fix it, but to cut it in half? That's crazy. So there wasn't a lot of front loading of things that they needed before the tariffs hit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it really does call into question some of the conventional wisdoms. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next month when we get this number, or we see some of the other numbers like current account, see how they fared. Because I don't know, I've been watching these numbers a long time. I don't think I've ever seen the trade deficit cut in half in 1 month.
Not bad. Not bad.
Come on, guys.
So that was great. By the way, if you haven't watched the whole interview or the press conference, it went on for about an hour, and that's why I like this prox by the Valiant Fox, because I would love to just record and play you the whole damn thing, but you would get bored. I mean, because there were times that it just kind of dulled down. But anyway, let's get to the second thread. But the moment that followed carried more weight. It would be the eye-watering for many who watched his whole journey. Musk stepped forward to deliver his goodbye as a tech billionaire, but as a man who embedded himself in one of the most dysfunctional systems on Earth in an attempt to fix from the inside. Well, let me say perhaps a few words, Musk began. Musk made it clear that DOGE was not going anywhere. It was just getting started. Musk made it clear, this is not the end for DOGE, but really the beginning. His time as a special government employee has run its course, limited by design, but the mission, he said, was far from over. The DOGE team will only grow stronger over time. the Doge influence will only grow stronger. He compared the movement to a burst of Buddhism, something deeper than policy or bureaucracy, a mindset, a way of life. It's permeating throughout the government, he explained. I'm confident that over time, we'll see $1 trillion in savings. Dollars, waste, and fraud reduction. Now, I wanted to just clarify a couple of things. The Elon Musk, he had a special status in that he wasn't a government employee. You understand that? He was just brought in as a contractor. It's a special status. I can't remember. It just means that he can continue to run his businesses and work as a consultant for the government. And you can only do that for a certain period of time. And I want to say it was 135 days. So he had to leave no matter what. Of course, his businesses have suffered immensely. I mean, Tesla stock took a big hit, you know, doing that. But let's watch that video right now.
Well, let me say perhaps a few words that this is not the end of DOGE, but really the beginning. My time as a special government employee necessarily had to end. It was a limited time thing. It's 134 days, I believe, which ends in a few days. So that, you know, it comes with a time limit. But the DOGE team will only grow stronger over time. The DOGE influence will only grow stronger. It's I'd liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life. So it is permeating throughout the government, and I'm confident that over time we'll see $1 trillion of savings and a reduction in $1 trillion of waste and fraud reduction. The calculations of the DOGE team thus far, in terms of an FY25 to FY26 delta, are over 160 billion, and that's climbing. We expect that number will probably go over 200 billion soon. So I think the DOGE team is doing an incredible job. They're going to continue doing an incredible job, and I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president, and I look forward to times being back in this amazing room. By the way, isn't this incredible? Look at this incredible. I mean, it's stunning. I think the way that the Oval Office, how the president has just completely redone the Oval Office is beautiful. I love the gold on the ceiling.
Thank you. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
All right. And by the way, I want big balls in charge of the budget, don't you? The same momentum, according to the investor Kevin O'Leary, had already begun to reshape how Americans think of government itself. In a recent interview, O'Leary argued that Musk's real accomplishment wasn't financial, it was actually psychological, bringing the whole idea of a different kind of audit into the psyche of bipartisan taxpayers, he said. DOGE is a good idea. It just is. Admitting the government, regardless of who's in charge, was now on the table in a way it hadn't been before. Trying to make it more efficient is a good idea. O'Leary's point was simple. The ideas behind DOGE were no longer a niche. They had gone mainstream. And I like O'Leary sometimes. Let's watch him on this video.
As Elon Musk sails off into the sunset, of what you think his best achievements were. You first, Kevin.
Bringing the whole idea of a different kind of audit into the psyche of bipartisan taxpayers. DOGE is a good idea. It just is. Auditing the government under any administration is a good idea. And trying to make it more efficient is a good idea. Now, one thing everybody learns, and I'm including myself in this statement, is you don't understand Washington till you go there. It is a very nasty, nasty place.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And anybody that exposes themselves that close to the sun is going to burn some feathers. And I think he experienced that and realized he did some great things, but there's other great things that he's doing, including, I'm a shareholder in Tesla. I'd like to see him a little focused on that. He's getting back to that as well. But I don't think what he did was bad at all. He didn't get near $1 trillion of savings. And Elizabeth Warren, parting card, is why Washington is nasty. You're going to get exposed to that. You need thick skin, and I think he understands that now. I think he did a great job.
All right, so that was O'Leary. So now we get into the next one. Like I said, this is a brilliant thread, and that's why I did it. By the way, I know the paper's on the ground. I'll be picking it up. Don't worry. It's easier than trying to sit there and fumble with it. I'll just go back and pick it up in here in just a minute. All right, so The shift in perception wasn't lost on the press. And when the floor opened to questions, it didn't take long for the media to test Musk's patience. Fox News correspondent Peter Doocy asked the obvious. The president mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows your time at DOGE. Musk was waiting. I like the way he put that. So let's open it up here. Some of the media organizations in the room were the slingers. Then came the confrontation. Doocy pointed out New York Times report questioning Musk's role and accusing him of blurring the lines between government and private influence. Musk fired back. Oh, wait. The New York Times is that publication that got the Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate hoax? It's the same organization. I think it is. Musk reminded everyone that a judge had recently ruled against the Trump for its, damn it, the bugs are on me, sorry. Ruled against Trump's for its coverage of the now debunked Russia collusion narrative. They might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize, he said, before dismissing the Times story altogether. That New York Times? Let's move on. Next question. All right, let's watch that video clip.
Trump, the president mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at DOGE. There's this.
Well, some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room were the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I gotta check my Pulitzer counter.
It is.
I think the judge just ruled against New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times. Let's move on.
Okay. Then
next question.
Woo! Wasn't that great? So then we get to the next thread right here. And this is just a picture. I love this. By the way, I would love to get one of these shirts. But we'll get into that in just a minute. It's worth noting Musk dismantled the media and roasted the New York Times while rocking a Doge cap and a shirt that read "The Doge Father." I swear, Elon Musk, because I'm a geek. I'm a cybersecurity guy for 28 years, and so I geek out. I still watch. I love watching fantasy, reading fantasy books. Or geeking out on the latest, like right now I'm working on some new drones and stuff. But anyway, I just thought that the Doge Father, under his black blazer, legendary doesn't begin to describe it. And of course you got the picture up right there. One reporter did take things into a lighter direction, noticing the visible bruise near Musk's eye. Trying not to drop it. There we go. Set that down. Can I ask quickly, Mr. Musk, is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there. Musk smirked. Well, I wasn't anywhere near France, he said. No, if you didn't know, there's a going viral. Macron's wife smacked him, and they caught it on video. And so that's what Musk was referring to there. And it was hilarious, and everybody's been talking about it. I don't know. To me, it happens. My wife used to hit me. I never hit her. Or my ex-wife. Musk smirked. I wasn't anywhere near France. Let me fold this so that the wind doesn't blow it around. I wasn't anywhere near France, he said, taking a playful jab at Brigitte Macron's infamous slap. Then he explained, I was just horsing around with little X. And I said, go ahead and punch me in the face. And he did. Turns out a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does hurt, or just as actually does. Before he could finish, Trump jumped in. If it was X that did that, I could do it. If you knew X, he could do that. Let's watch the video on Elon talking about X hitting him in the face.
I want to ask quickly, Mr. Musk, is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, I wasn't anywhere near France, so.
What does that mean?
I didn't notice it.
First lady of France.
Getting slapped, you know.
I didn't notice it.
I was just horsing around with Lil X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X, you
I saw
could
his
do
mom
it.
right now. But I didn't really feel much at the time, and then I guess it bruises up. But I just horsing around with the kid.
I didn't notice it, actually.
All right, that's like I said, brilliant thread, isn't it? Aren't you enjoying it? So I hate just reading what he wrote, but he does it in such a way, or her. I don't know who the Valiant Fox is, and but I like the way the story is told. It's, as the event drew to a close, Musk offered the final reflection, just on DOGE, but on the machinery of government itself. There are many things that occur in government because it's a banal evil of bureaucracy, he said. What followed was a blunt diagnosis of a system that seemed designed not to solve problems, but to survive them. It's sort of the, frankly, largely uncaring nature of the bureaucracy, Musk explained. Then he turned to Morgan Freeman, quoting a line that had clearly stayed with him. As the great Morgan Freeman said, money is spent most poorly when it's someone else's money that's being spent on people you don't know. No shit on that one. And that was a great quote. Hey, I wish I could pull quotes like that right out of the back of my mind, All right. That, he said, is how federal spending works. And fixing it, nearly impossible. You can't really blame the individuals, Musk continued, because of the way the government works. It's complaint minimization. When someone within the government tries to stop that money being spent, there's usually someone that complains, and then their manager will say it's not worth the trouble. Still, Musk ended with a note of optimism. I think it was an important thing. I think it was a necessary thing. I think it will have good effect in the future. The message was clear. He may have been stepping away, but DOGE, his vision for a leaner, more honest government, was just getting started. Now, when I worked in the federal government, I was there 5 years. And that statement is 100% true. They kept programs that were, I've told you about the Data General computers. I wrote a program that would have unemployed 50 people and replaced those Data General computers at that time with a VAX. I know I'm dating myself. People don't even know what a VAX was. But, and rather than replace those 50 people, the guy outranked my boss. So they kept, and by the way, the program got buried. So it never saw the light of day. And I would have saved the taxpayers, good God, I bet I would have saved the taxpayers $50 million a year if they had just used that program and obsoleted the, and by the way, they could have found other work for those 50 employees that ran those data, and those Data General computers didn't have much life left in them. They were using the old tape reels and all that stuff. Have you ever seen those? It took up a whole freaking, football field, the size of those things. Anyway, let's watch the video on fixing evil government.
There are many things that occur in the government because it's the banal evil of bureaucracy. It's sort of the frankly largely uncaring nature of bureaucracy. It's as the great Milton Friedman said, money is spent most poorly when it is someone else's money being spent on people you don't know, and that's how federal spending is. And then you can't really even blame the individuals because the way the government works is complaint minimization. So when you do when someone within the government tries to stop money being spent, there's usually someone that complains, and then their manager will say it's not worth the trouble, just pay it anyway. That happens over and over again.
So was it
I think it was an important thing. I think it was a necessary thing, and I think it will have a good effect in the future. Thank you.
All right. So no matter how all this ends, Musk did what few ever could. He started a revolution. He didn't have to do this, but he did it anyway, for the people, despite the defamation, the media smears, the firebombings of Tesla facilities. Hang on it. For once, someone stood in the gap, challenging the rot of bureaucracy from the inside. And to anyone who witnessed the area of DOGE, Musk will be the legend who brought it to fruition. I thought that was a great summary of what we got there. Now I've got a video, the next video is actually Glenn Beck, because I wanted to just expand on what the Vigilant Fox did. So this is Glenn Beck. Elon Musk didn't play the game, he changed the game. I believe there's going to be time when politics have moved on, that society will acknowledge not only what he's done, but what he sacrificed for this country and humanity. And let's watch Glenn Beck on Elon. It's about a 3-minute clip, but I thought he summed it up extremely well. Let's watch that.
Elon Musk, as he stood up again and again, technological sovereignty, speech, enterprise, for the radical, dangerous idea that the individual, not the institution, should shape the future. I think there's going to be a time, and hopefully it's not too far in the future, when the heat is cooled and politics have moved on, that society will acknowledge not only what he's done, what he's given, but the sacrifice that he just went through. But that'll happen, at a time when the real effects of everything, when the future that he is helping shape right now, better or worse, is really taking root, that's when he'll be recognized, once this nonsense is over. The thing I like about him, he never asked us to trust him. He never asked for our loyalty. But I think he does deserve our respect. I don't care what side of that, I don't care who you voted for. How do you not recognize what this man has done for humanity, especially if you're somebody who believes in global warming, what he's done for humanity, what he is still trying to do, the incredible strides that he has made, and the bravery that it has taken for him just to stand up. I remember he walked away from his side, didn't expect his side to leave him, but once he had a different opinion of theirs, they just abandoned him. He lost all of his friends. He lost everything. So today, as he is leaving, I would like to say, Elon Musk, thank you. Thank you. You didn't play the game. You changed the game. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me and so many other Americans that progress has never come in polite little packages. It's never been polite. The truth rarely comes dressed in approval. But I think you did some things that are absolutely remarkable, and you're going to continue to do things that are remarkable. Go in strength. Know that history will catch up to you. You're way ahead of the game. Thank you, Elon Musk.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
All right. I love it. Mr. President, thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Nice to meet you. I love it. We love it. We love it.
All right. Then I'll finish off the Elon story in this video with J.D. Vance. And this actually, Elon Musk posted this himself, but this is J.D. Vance on what Elon Musk was able to accomplish. And we all do Elon Musk a debt of gratitude, in my opinion. So I hope that you, definitely just reply to Elon Musk, maybe one of his tweets, and say thank you, Elon Musk. Let's watch J.D. Vance now.
I think what he's done is really incredible. People sort of forget that when he came into the U.S. government, we had never had a full-scale effort to actually look at, are we spending the American people's dollars wisely? And he found in a very short period of time over $170 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse. I think there's also an effort by the media to sort of say the Elon era is over, and I think that's actually totally wrong. Now, he has obviously a day job, and he's got to go back to his day job to run his companies, but the DOGE effort will continue. Elon will continue to be an important advisor for both me and the president. And most importantly, the job of making the government more efficient, of not wasting people's money, that has to continue. I think it's one of the most important mandates that we got from the American people. We're going to keep on executing on that mandate.
So, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
All right, so now we're getting into the next part of the video. And I just, these are just interesting topics that I popped up. This is a good one. This is from African Hub, by the way. Togo has suspended mining permits to reclaim control over its natural resources and assert its sovereignty, echoing a growing wave of resource nationalism across Africa. As it moves to join the Alliance of Chilean States, AES, Togo aims to curb foreign exploitation, update mining laws, and ensure its wealth benefits local communities and government, much like Burkina Faso. Togo, officially, the Togolese Republic, is a I'll go ahead. This is not what was in the tweet. I'd never heard of Togo. I mean, I consider myself not completely geographically ignorant, but maybe I am. And I was going, what the hell? I never heard of a country called Togo before. Actually, T-O-G-O. So I had to look it up on Wikipedia. Now, I don't trust Wikipedia at all for anything, but I mean, they do. I don't think they're going to lie to you about what Togo is. So I'll just read to you what they said. Togo, officially, the Togolese Republic, is a country in West Africa. It is bordered by Ghana to the west and Benin to the east, and Burkina Faso to the north. It is one of the least developed countries and extends south to the Gulf of Guinea, where its capital, Lomé, is located. It has a diverse population of about 8 million, mostly speaking French and various African languages, and you got the picture that they put up of all the African leaders in the area. Now, I wanted to kind of expand on that just a little bit. If you didn't know, Burkina Faso and some of the African nations, for years they were colonial exploited territories. The French especially. They went in there, they get gold out of the ground that's worth, now $3,000 an ounce or $3,100, and they would pay the Burkina Faso $50 an ounce. It's like just crazy shit like that. And so, so now what they're doing is they've kicked the French out. And by the way, Trump has a delegation actually going to, I want to say, Burkina Faso. So he just wants to talk to them about trade. And anyway, so Africa's coming into its own, man. They're kicking out all the colonial powers, kicking out the United States, kicking out France, kicking out Spain, you name it. Anyway, I just thought that was a very interesting post. This was from Leading Report. This is funny as hell. Now, this is going all over. This has gone viral on X, man. This has gone viral. It says, Secret Service whistleblower alleges that Biden would often get lost in his White House closet in the mornings and struggle to find his way out, per Senator Hawley. So Biden was getting lost in his closet. Oh, and the media covered it all up, man. Oh, yeah, and I heard the numbers at DNC has gone way down. They were getting like less than 50,000 views or something like that. So maybe people are waking up to the fact that the media lies about everything. The legacy media, or I call them the lying media. By the way, I ran a poll and I only got 2 votes, or maybe 3 or 4, and everybody liked the legacy media as the best way to describe it. Because I said, well, should we call them the mockingbird media, the lion media, the legacy media? And people want legacy media, so that's what we'll keep calling them. This is Charlie Kirk commentary, and I don't know if it just says Charlie Kirk News. I don't know if this is like a second X account that Charlie Kirk is up, or if somebody has started it. I would think he would put the kibosh on it if he didn't approve of it. So anyway, they put up some good posts. When did the fighting for people become less important than protecting your own power, Democrats? And I just thought this was funny, and I added to it because I want you to know what a Democrat is. If I don't cover Democrats in a video, I feel like I've left something out, man. Because by the way, we're going to get to it. I'll wait till we get there. Every House Democrat voted to give illegal aliens Medicaid. Every House Democrat voted to tax your tips and overtime. Every House Democrat voted to slash the child tax credit. Every House Democrat voted to keep criminal aliens in the United States. Every House Democrat voted to raise your taxes. Every House Democrat voted against a DOGE audit of government agencies. That is who they are. I just thought that was a great post. So anyway, this is, so then I got a few friends that actually have Democrat friends. I have none. I can't stand to be around a Democrat, not at all. And they can't stand to be around me. So the feeling's mutual, all right? But anyway, because the way they treated me back during COVID. And then when I voted for Trump, oh my God, they were, I couldn't hardly even go out to eat with them. One Democrat I was with accosted a guy in a MAGA hat. I told that story in other videos. Anyway, so this is actually kind of sad. Oh yeah, so what I wanted to show you was, because we've been talking about how do you bring a Democrat around to common sense thinking? And I don't know if it's even possible, but I have talked to some of my friends who have Democrat friends, and they were telling me how they kind of broach the things, and they do try, but a lot of times it just don't work. But I thought this was an excellent video on how to talk to a Democrat. It's on white privilege, which, as you know, my Democrat sister-in-law called me a white racist. That tells you what the Democrats think of white people. But this is, he's talking to a black person about white privilege. Let's watch that video.
How do you define white privilege?
How would you define white privilege?
Getting better access, more opportunities because of your skin color, or because you're white, I guess.
What system in place right now gives white people an advantage over black people?
I feel like it's less a system, institutions, and more just day-to-day, how people act.
No, I hear what you're saying, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people share that same sentiment.
Right.
I just think that it's more of a feeling than a reality. I think that if you look at majority of people, they're not going to treat a black person any different. Do you believe that any of your professors here on campus, does any of them discriminate against you on your grades, the way they teach? Do they treat you any different in the classroom?
No.
Most people's experience is like yours, but yet they feel like somebody else may be experiencing discrimination.
Okay.
And I would argue that it's propaganda more so than reality.
So he did a good job there, right? I mean, basically trying to, help a Democrat come around to some common sense thinking. Because there is no such thing as white privilege. In fact, whites have left privilege. It's easier as a black person to get into a college than it is as a white person. I mean, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So let's switch over. By the way, I hope you go watch the video on Gaza. It got a lot of hits. It was up in the thousands for sure. I don't remember exactly how many, and which made it good, because that was a difficult video for me to make, because it made me want to cry making that video. And like I said, I was sick for 3 days after it. But this is Dr. Jill Stein. If you don't know who Jill Stein is, I think she was the libertarian candidate for president. And if Trump hadn't been running, I would have voted for her. I like Jill Stein a lot. A new poll shows the majority of our Israelis want to kill every child, woman, and man in Gaza. No wonder Israel has become a pariah state. boycott genocide now is the hashtag she used. And here's the numbers. 82% of Israelis want to expel all Palestinians from Gaza. And by the way, these numbers, don't think this isn't a legitimate poll. I've heard even worse numbers on other polls. So these are actually kind of mild in comparison. And 47% of Israelis want to kill every man, woman, and child in Gaza. Unbelievable. And of course, you got the picture right here. You know, I'm showing you that. So we got another video. This is Adam. He posted this video by Glenn Greenwald, because this is kind of a follow-up to what Jill Stein had to say. And I thought Glenn Greenwald summed it up very nicely. Let's watch Glenn Greenwald now.
The Israelis are like an apocalyptic cult. They don't recognize moral limits. They don't acknowledge the humanity of Palestinians. They absolutely consider Palestinians to be animals. There's no way you can just do what they've done to Gaza. Bomb every remaining hospital and mosque and school. They're bombing electricity generators for hospitals so that ICU patients on incubators die. They've bombed shelters. They've constantly bombed people in tents. The number of children who are dead, including under 3 years old, is just, as a statistic, is shocking in itself. There's no question the number of people who have died that we hear from Gaza is extremely underestimated, because they only count the people who go through the morgue. Huge numbers of people are still lying under that rubble. There's massive rubble everywhere with bodies underneath who don't make it to the morgue. There are other people who die of disease or hunger who aren't counted because they're not actually killed with bombs or bullets, but they're victims of the Israeli action nonetheless. They've stripped the Palestinians in Gaza of all remaining humanity. I mean, they go to bed every night with Israeli bombers over their head, being terrorized every night that that's the last night their children are going to wake up. I don't even know how you get through this and then maintain any semblance of life, especially the million children in Gaza whose childhood is shaped by this. How do you function? How do you become a normal human being? How do you ever feel safe or stable? Or it's inconceivable.
All right, so that was that video. And then we're going to get to the next one here. Does anyone in the Wild West really think they can block the passage of a Russian ship through international waters of the Baltic Sea? Thousands of Putin's troops and jets flood the Baltic enemy exercises. This is an AK-630 cannon fires a jaw-dropping 83 rounds a second at sub-torpedo torches the enemy. All right, on the last page. Thank God. Ship. Drill blasts, unnamed boats, and drones. Let's watch that video now. Wasn't that cool? By the way, we'll probably make a future video on Ukraine. And it's a video of Russia has come out with these new 3,000-pound bombs. And they used to be just dumb bombs. And so if you think about it, when you're carrying a 3,000-pound bomb, you had to practically be right over the target to drop it. And so that made them very vulnerable to any sort of air defense. You know, because the places you want to bomb are usually defended by air defenses. So what Russia came up with is they put this glide rack on the bomb, and now they can shoot it as a standoff weapon, and also it gives it pinpoint accuracy. And that's why the Sumy region is falling so fast, because they're making use of these 3,000-pound bombs. I can't even imagine what a 3,000-pound bomb would do. I don't care if you're in a trench, you're going to die, you know. If you're in the basement of a building, you're going to die. You know, I mean, that's just devastating. And so they're dropping them like candy in the Sumy, and that's why they're advancing so fast there. They took, I don't know, what did they say, like 12 villages in the last 2 days or something like that? It was crazy. I mean, these are small towns. You know, oh my God. They said that they're going to be advancing on Sumy, that's a big city, within probably a couple of weeks, maybe less, who knows. So anyway, that was the film of that. So then we get into Peacemaker. By the way, I don't know who this Peacemaker is, but he puts up some really good posts on Russia and Ukraine. So I just want to read this to you, because we did the, if you watch my last video, we did another post by him. It says, Operation Zeus Lightning, Putin's reaction to Zelensky's rejection of conflict settlement plan. Over the past 2 weeks, the Russian armed forces have moved about 40 long-range Tu-22 M3 bombers to the Olenia airfield, as well as about 20% of the Tu-95 MS aircraft in the country. This is the largest transfer of strategic aviation since the beginning of the conflict. According to the source, preparations are being made as part of a large-scale operation aimed at dealing crushing blow to the Ukrainian facilities, energy, transport, logistics, and command centers. If Zelensky rejects the proposed memorandum, by the way, they're meeting on Monday to talk about a possible peace proposal, which should become the basis of the future peace agreement with Ukraine. In the event of another breakdown in peace talks, Moscow no longer intends to drag out military action for another year. According to the insider, the Kremlin has decided to end the active phase as harshly and as quickly as possible, using all available means except nuclear weapons. Galina Airfield is one of the most protected and remote and was chosen to concentrate strategic air forces and munitions. A fly just bit my finger. Got it. Oh. Sources say that Putin hopes to show the West what a war would look like if Russia stopped keeping up. Basically, they're going to be moving out of the special military operation and into an offensive phase. And what they're saying is they want to show the West what war really looks like, rather than the special military operation. This is also a signal for European hawks, especially against the background discussions about the supply of new weapons to Ukraine. Military experts expect an unprecedented blow to the militants of the Ukrainian armed forces if Zelensky tries to disrupt the negotiations and escalate the situation. So we're entering a whole new phase of the war, and it's going to be devastating. McGregor said that up in the Sumy region, they had 100,000 troops, not 50,000, ready to come in from the north. And of course, the lines are crumbling all along the eastern front. So I think it's going to be over sooner rather than later. I really do. If the peace talks, which I don't expect anything to happen on Monday. So we're going to finish up with just something fun. This is very interesting. I don't know if it's true. It was a post by DOGE, D-U-J-O-L-E. China discovered an underground source of energy for the next 4,000 years. As usual, the news from China has attracted the attention of the world public. What the hell was that? Did you hear that? I don't know if the mic picked it up. Wow. Sounded like a tree cracking in half. Maybe it was. Scared the hell out of me, though. Sorry about that. Shandong province near the city of Zhihao, Chinese engineers have made a discovery that could change the way the world thinks about energy future. And it's got a picture of the geyser. That's it for the video today. Peace out. Stay free. If I think of something else, we'll get it on the video on the way back. I got to pick up these pieces of paper and then hike out to my bench and just sit and enjoy the forest for a while. All right, let's get just a nature video on here while the sun's behind me. There was 3 things I forgot to talk about. One was the last functioning hospital in Gaza has been bombed out and is no longer functioning. So there is no medical care in Gaza anymore. So I imagine a lot of people are dying from, the slightest. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been a backpacker or been out and camping for a long period of time, but you could get just a simple scratch. And if you don't have, like Neosporin or an anti cream to put on it, that little scratch can get infected. And then you got a major problem on your hand. And with Israel dropping US-made 2,000-pound bombs, I imagine a lot of people are getting a lot of injuries. And those injuries will turn septic quite quickly. You saw Glenn Greenwald, so that was the first thing. If I can find it, there's a clip by Elon Musk. I'll put it up in the Elon Musk section. I'll just talk about it here, where he said on CBS that he is upset. That is another reason that he's leaving, is because he said the big, beautiful bill can either be big or beautiful. He didn't think it could be both. and that the spending increases that the Republicans are pushing through absolutely negate all the work that he did for DOGE in added spending. So he's kind of pissed about that. The other one is we're going to do a future video. There was one number, I think I want to say it was 135 trillion in derivatives that was calculated on the debt clock. You know, you just go to debtclock.com if you want to see these numbers. And maybe I'll do a big, because, you know, Warren Buffett called a derivative a weapon of financial destruction. Or he might have put it a different way, but that's what he said, something like that. Anyway, we'll do a video on what a derivative is and why it is so destructive. And 135 trillion, or however much it was, might even be more than that. It's just a staggering. I mean, it's beyond even imagination. So I don't see how we're not going to hit a financial disaster. If I think of something else, we'll get it on the video. I know it's gotten long. Sorry about that. Yeah, remember the one last topic that I forgot to cover, and that's the controversy around the Taurus missile. You didn't know Merckx was a Nazi who's in charge of Germany right now. And he said they're going to be giving Ukraine the Taurus missiles and firing them into Russia. Now, those are plane-based weapons, so they got to get those F-16s off the ground and weapon them up and have trained pilots. So that's one hurdle that they got to overcome, or they're probably already there. Then, of course, the German technicians have to be on the ground to program those missiles. And then, of course, the United States has to agree to provide the satellite targeting data for those missiles. So it's a multifaceted operation. And I'm getting conflicting information about whether the Taurus is going to be used at all. There was a person underneath Merckx who said, no, we won't be doing that. I don't know if he's a military commander or what. I just read that post before I came out and made this video. So I don't know who it was or whether he had the power to stop it. But anyway, just wanted to add that the Russians have pretty much said they're going to hit Germany with an Oreshnik missile if the Taurus is used against them. Now, my idea was they should hit the Taurus weapons factory. It's kind of it's not near the public, so not many civilians would get killed, if any. And it hasn't been in use for about a year. So it's just kind of symbolic. And also it would mean that factory can never be used to build these types of weapons against Russia ever again. So it seems to me that would be the most, if I was Putin, that would be my most likely target, is to target that factory. Sorry, we're heading into the sun here now. Turn it off to the side. So anyway, I just wanted to add that to the video. So we'll see. I don't know what Germany's thinking. You know, they killed 27 million Russians during World War II. And, you know, everybody says, well, the Russians didn't do anything about the attackums. They didn't do a thing about the storm shadows. Well, we were allies in World War II. Russia was fighting the Germans. So for the Germans to be attacking Russia again, after they killed 27 million Russians in World War II, you see the symbolism here? It's a whole different ballgame. They're not going to allow Germany to attack Russia again. And also that Germany has a battalion, I want to say Lithuania. Anyway, they've got tanks on the Russian border right now. And think of the symbolism of that after the Panzers came across with the German 6th Army back during World War II. I'm telling you, Germany's playing with fire, man, because Russia categorizes Germany in a whole different category than they do the United States. And that's why we've been able to get away with what we've been able to get away with.